other than that.
Hello, Mr. August. How you doing today?
Well, pretty good, John. How are you?
Good. I am doing fantastic. Well, thank you for letting me come out today. Looking forward to talking to you about getting your home listed this morning. So I'm really excited to work with you. So first off, I just wanted to let you know I have a great deal of respect for your time this morning. In fact, I have just 3 goals for us. Mm-hmm. The first is, of course, we're going to review your motivation to sell your home today and agree at a price that will cause it to sell. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Perfect. Second, answer any questions you may have for me. And then third, we'll go ahead and decide this morning whether you're going to list with me and then, of course, whether I'll take the listing. Is that fair?
Yeah, that works.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I've got 3 critical questions for you here, Ed. The first off is, do you really want to sell your house?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Are you willing to price the house to sell, or you want it to set on the market, maybe for 6 months or so before it sells?
We definitely don't want it to sell on the market for 6 months.
Okay, okay.
But, we kind of know what we want out of the house too, so.
Excellent, excellent. So you know what you want out of the house. Mm-hmm. Sounds like we need to get that done sooner rather than later. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I know on the phone you told me you wanted to be relocated in about 4 months. So is that still the case?
That is still the case.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So we need to be out in 4 months. And of course what this means, and you may not be aware of this, but what this means is we need to have the home under contract within the next 2 months. So we're
really?
We're on a little bit of a time crunch here, so we want to make sure we get this done for you, okay?
Well, isn't that pretty normal?
Getting it under contract in 2 months?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. As long as we have it priced according to the market, we should have no problem doing that.
Great.
Fantastic. All right, do you want me to go ahead and handle the transaction for you?
That's why you're here.
Perfect. That's why we're here to talk about it, right?
You betcha.
Perfect. Excellent. Now, just a couple review questions real quick. Walking through your home, it was about 1,700 some square feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure I had that information correct. I did pull it from actually an old listing and from the county information. Just want to make sure. And you said you were just going to go ahead and move down to Fayetteville, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. And of course, we just talked about you wanted to be there about 4 months.
Well, actually, the plan has kind of changed.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and move.
Oh, okay. So we're going to go ahead and move now.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go ahead and move into a rental property down there.
Okay, fantastic. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. So we want to make sure we get pictures while there's some furniture in.
There you go.
So we're going to go ahead and move now. Now, does this change anything?
That brings up a question. Mm-hmm. Do you think the house will show better with furniture in it or no furniture or?
That's a great question. So if it's possible, definitely we definitely want to stage for the pictures. And quite honestly, if there was a way for you to be able to move down to the rental and leave some furniture here so we could stage the home for showings, it would show better, Ed. I can guarantee
we can do that.
That would do better. Okay, fantastic. So my curiosity question though is, you're moving now. Originally when we talked on the phone, we talked about relocating in 4 months. Mm-hmm. What does that change for you in having to have this home sold by? Do we need to update those timelines?
It doesn't really change very much.
Okay.
I'm doing a relocation with my company. They're going to pay for our rent for 6 months.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So
really, we're going to be out of pocket.
Okay, perfect. So it sounds like they're going to pay for the rent for 6 months. So now, just to look at the numbers, quite honestly, we have maybe a little bit longer deadline, 6 months, and at the same time, after that, you're going to have to start paying out of your pocket. Is that right?
Correct.
So we have to make sure this still gets sold within 4 months,
yes,
right?
Ideally.
Okay, perfect. So we need to make sure it gets sold in 4 months. Now, I know you're already relocating. You mentioned, of course, that they're going to be paying for it. So my question to you is, what is important to you about getting this sold in 4 months?
Well, it would allow us to pocket a little bit of money.
Okay.
Quite frankly, we wouldn't have our current house payment, and we would still be subsidized by the company for our rent down there. So we could save a little bit of money if we got it sold quicker, because it's not sitting there empty and we're still paying for it.
Okay, perfect. So, I guess what I'm hearing you say is it's important to get it sold within 4 months so you can pocket some extra money. You can actually set some savings aside while, of course, your company is subsidizing, the rent, etc. Is that right?
Correct.
Perfect. So why is it important to set aside more money, save more money?
Oh, it's just, really, it'll amount to pocket change. It's not really a lot of money that we would save, but it probably makes the difference between us having to move ourselves.
Okay.
or hire someone to do it. I mean,
okay, perfect.
It's that amount of money.
So not necessarily a ton of money, and yet it does allow you to possibly not have to worry about all the boxing up, trying to unpack, make this happen, all the stress.
Sit in a lawn chair and let them do it.
I like that idea. Perfect. So basically, it's maybe it sounds like the reason it would be important is to really just your stress level and your family's stress level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So ultimately, Ed, you're going to be in Fayetteville here in about 4 months. Actually, you're going to be there sooner than that.
Sooner.
So you're there this month. Is that right?
Yes.
Perfect. So ultimately, you're in Fayetteville in this month. 4 months from now, though, your home's sold. You've been able to pocket some extra money. You can sit in a lawn chair and watch yourself get moved in. Mm-hmm. You're relaxed, right? Your wife's relaxed. Everybody's. It's fantastic. Ultimately, what does that do for you?
It just makes this whole process easier.
Okay.
It's going to be hard on the kids to move, and that one little piece will just make it easier on everybody.
Excellent.
Like you said, stress level will go down.
Right. Stress level for the wife, the kids, everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
For yourself. And honestly, doesn't your family deserve that?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect. And really, Ed, if you're as committed as I am, that will not be a problem. We'll have your home sold within 4 months, and I'll even get you up a lawn chair. You can just sit in there and watch it, okay?
Deal.
Perfect. So, Ed, I had a couple quick things I did want to go over. Of course, we've talked a little bit about price, so I wanted to present you the market in our current local real estate market. Have you had anybody show this to you lately? Are you familiar with what's going on?
No.
Okay.
We kind of watched what our neighbors' houses have been selling for, but we haven't talked to anybody about it.
Excellent. Well, I did want to go ahead and take the opportunity to show this to you. First off, before I actually get into into what's going on in the market, I do want you to be aware. I know we've been talking about a couple different companies, a couple different agencies earlier on the phone. One of the reasons I'm here is because Keller Williams, as you can see here, we are the top in our market. This is what we call our core market, which involves Joplin, Webb City, Carl Junction. And in this area, we actually have 50% of the business.
Wow.
Yeah, and as you can see, actually, this yellow here actually represents buyers, and green represents listings. So what I think is the interesting thing and the cool thing for you is that over here at Keller Williams Realty, we actually have as many buyers as our competitors have business. Now, can you see where there may be an advantage to, of course, listing with us and getting your home sold, right?
Yeah, and that's interesting because I've always been told that Keller Williams doesn't care anything except about the listing.
Well,
but you have more buyers than you do listings.
Yep, and so what's interesting is, either more, or even when I was looking at it, I was thinking half and half. I mean, it really is both there. We care about both. And actually, just to your point, one other graph I bring is if we were to just go ahead and say what's happening in the entire market right now, not just Joplin, Webb City, Carl Junction, but what's happening in Carthage, what's happening in all the surrounding areas, what we find, Ed, is really the same story. As you can tell, these graphs are pretty close to the same thing, at least in looks. What we find is that in the entire market, we're still higher, and actually, like you said, now those buyers number one, like I said, it's still as much as our competitors.
Right.
Like you said, it's definitely the buyers is buyer heavy. So yes, absolutely, we care about the buyer. Don't worry, we care about your listing too. So
that's good. Well, if you have buyers, I'm not worried.
We got buyers. No need to worry. So I wanted to show you that before I go into the market, because now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you the actual numbers. Just remember that all these numbers, we really have most of the listings, most of the buyers that's going on here. So one thing I show all of my clients is this graph here. It looks really scary, but what I'm going to show you is just kind of break it down for you. In our market, there are currently 214 homes on the market. These are active listings.
Is that a lot or not very many?
That is a little bit less than what we're used to. As you can see here, last year we actually had 257. This is good news for you. We're in what's considered a seller's market. Now, we don't want to get, although we love that and that's really exciting, that's what the news hypes up, we also want to be realistic, because what we found is that only 26 homes sold last month. So, of course, our goal, Ed, for you is we have to make sure that you're one of the 26 homes that's actually selling.
Sure. Rather
than the 214 that are staying on the market. Because if we stay on the market, we're not going to be sitting in the lawn chair relaxing and watching, of course, as we moved in. You're going to have to be doing it all yourself, right?
Right.
This
is Joplin area only?
This actually is even smaller than that. What I do is I take your specific area in Joplin, and so this is actually very hyper-local to your area, okay? We could compare you to the entire MLS, but then that would be pretty unfair, right? Because honestly, your numbers might be skewed by different neighborhoods, different areas. They're going to look a lot better, maybe sell faster, things like that. So you're
just looking at the southwest part of town that we live in. You're not looking
absolutely
anywhere, Webb City or across. Okay.
Absolutely, because I don't want to compare. It's no lie, Ed, that some people prefer different school districts, right, than others.
Sure.
I think you'd agree with that. So what I don't want to do is compare you, and I'm just using that as an example. There could be a lot of different factors. but I don't want to compare you to a different neighborhood that maybe for school district, maybe for shopping centers, maybe for a variety of reasons is moving faster or slower. We want to make sure we're really comparing you to your area. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, I know on the phone we talked about some different price points, and one of the things I noticed, I mean, we talked about anything, from 140 and above, and I just wanted you to know that right here was what I would call, really, if we really want to get hyper local, right, with price and area, for 120 all the way up to the 160 range, there's actually 21 homes on the market. So this is really getting hyper local to around your price point. What we found also is that, of course, in those same price points, only 6 have sold. So you can see that 26 number just dropped quite a bit, right?
Right.
So we've got to make sure that we're priced in such a way that, of course, we're one of the actual 6 homes in your price point that is actually selling. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right, so what I want to do is go ahead and move and get even more local for you. What we've got here, Ed, and this is right here is your home, I believe, the last time it sold. Right, 4401 par, is that right?
Right.
Fantastic. So the only reason I'm showing you this...
That's when we bought it, actually.
Perfect. I was hoping so. So the only reason I'm showing you this is actually just to let you know, hey, there's the square footage. That's where I pulled it. Of course, bedrooms, bathrooms. Really, I don't, here's the price, but I don't necessarily worry about that. We're going to go with the prices that actually are today's prices. But I just want you to know where I pulled my information and also get your eyes on this so you can tell me if I pulled anything wrong, right? In case we need to change something. All right. So, Ed, what we do to determine a price.
Can I see that again real quick?
Oh, yes.
I have a favor to ask, because I'm not sure. Are you going to measure and make sure that square footage is correct? Because
absolutely.
We've always felt that it was probably a little bigger than that.
Okay. No, absolutely, we're going to be measuring it because we want to make sure we're advertising it, most effectively, and really just make sure the buyers are going to be happy too. So,
okay,
absolutely, we'll do that.
Okay, easy enough.
And if there was a significant difference, Ed, we're going to go off prices based off of homes that are around the square footage. If there really was a significant difference of 200 square feet or more, even if we determined a price today, believe me, I'll be giving you a call and saying, hey, there's a different price point we should be looking at. Because honestly, like you said, if you feel like it's a lot bigger, so let's say it's 1,900 square feet, there may be a few $1,000s you could pocket. I want to make sure you know that. At the same time, if it's less, I'm still going to be making that call because now all of a sudden we could be pricing ourselves in the wrong price point. Okay. So we'll measure it and make sure, but my bet and what I found is that they're usually pretty close.
Okay.
But we will definitely check that. So what we do for price, Ed, is I actually, I work with a lot of sellers. Everybody always wants me to pick the price for them, right? I'm not going to do that. What I am going to show you is I'm going to show you homes that are on the market in your area that are within 250 square feet of your home. Holding the pose just for you to get your camera. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull homes that are within 250 square feet of your home, okay? They're going to be within the same age. From what I can tell from the county information and from your last listing, it was built in 1998. Does that sound about right? Okay, perfect. So we're pulling homes that have been built within about 10 years of that, within the same square footage, within the same area, and then we're really just presenting those to you. So what we've got is 4 homes that are actively on the market that would be considered your competition today.
So you're not going to tell me what my house is worth?
We're actually going to look at these numbers here and then see what you think of the price. See, what I like to do is, as long as you pick a price, as long as you're comfortable with a price that fits within the market, I'm comfortable marketing it for you and, of course, going and finding that buyer for you. Okay. However, as a quick example, if these numbers said your house could sell for 150 and you wanted 200, we're probably going to have a little bit of a problem. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Perfect. But I don't want to pick a price and maybe sacrifice money you could either be putting in your pocket or sacrifice time if I picked it wrong. What I want to do is show you the actual market and make sure that we interpret this at a high level. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Perfect. So we've got 4 active homes, and then what we've got is we've got 4 homes that sold within the last 6 months that also fit the criteria. So that lets us know what your competition is today and what buyers are actually writing checks for. Fair enough?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so what I've got here, and I'm just going to run through these real quick, and then you can come back and we can take time, or you can, some of these homes you may have been in, different, we'll go over them each individually if we need to. So what I found here is 4231 West 28th Street is currently on the market at $114,900. Okay, so that's a little bit low, I know, but let's hang with me here. 2602 Birch.
It's smaller too. So
it is a little smaller, actually. It's a little smaller, and I'm reading upside down here, so I'm struggling finding that. But it is 1,500 square feet. I found it.
Right.
So it's a lot smaller, actually. So what we found here is that 1,800 square feet, 2602 Birch is actually on the market at 149. That's a little bit nicer number, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I found was very interesting on this active side is that all of a sudden we have, again, the same square footage, 114.9, and then we have right down here on Country Club Drive, we have another one at 149. Those are your active competition, actually. You have, what, 114.9 basically, and 149.9, you've got one of each, or two of each, I'm sorry. So that's what's going on currently, active market. And if we drop back down here and kind of look at the ages of these homes, we're going to find out that they're all pretty comparable. You have 2002, you have 2004, 1998, which is right on track with your house, and then, of course, 2005. So it does look like a few of them are newer. You can kind of look at these, these ones that are, the cheaper ones, and maybe it looks like this one, actually, the garage was converted. So there may be a couple factors we can, take in mind.
And we've been in this house, and I will say that's a very nice house. It surprises me that it hadn't sold, really.
Right. Well, it's been on the market 85 days, so definitely it's been on the market a little longer.
A little longer, isn't it?
A little longer, especially when we're looking at yours and knowing we need to have it sold within 60 in order to reach your goals. All right, now this is what's considered actively on the market, so I'm going to show you some homes now that are actually sold within the last 4 months that are still considered to be your competition or in the right area, okay? So what we found here is 2030 Fairway Drive was on the market at 129. It sold for 125. Right here we have 5056 Sycamore. That one actually sold at 149. It was on the market at 159. Now what we see here is you can see that maybe it was overpriced. It dropped a lot in order to sell, and consequently it was on the market a lot longer. Okay. So this is one interesting thing that happens with price. If we pick a price outside of the price point, outside of the market, we're going to be on the market a lot longer in order to sell.
Okay.
So then you have this one that was on the market at 134. It sold at 130. And then you have this last one here that was on the market at 139, sold at 135. So Ed, again, you've seen each one of these. You've actually lived in the area, I know, for quite a while. Some of these homes, like you said, you've been in a couple of these. You may even, quite honestly, know more about the inside of one or two of these homes than even I do. But what I'd like to ask you...
We were in that one. That was a bank repo.
Right.
And it had mold problems and water issues all over the place.
Which is probably why it sold took 283 days.
A long time.
But it's really interesting that it actually sold at the right, at 125. However, in the range, and yet probably a little overpriced, and that's why it took a long time to find that buyer that was willing to do it. Right.
And that one had a basement, so that it was really funny. It felt the upstairs felt small. But if it's only 2,000 square feet, that's probably 1,000 square feet up and 1,000 down.
Exactly why it felt small. That's why exactly it felt small. So when you look at all these numbers, and I know I'm throwing a lot of data in front of you here, Ed. However, what we know is that we can even shrink it a little bit and say we know that actively on the market, our competition is either at 115 or 150. Quite a big gap, actually. I don't usually see that large of a gap. And yet we know that sales prices have ranged more on the 125 side to 150 side. When you look at these numbers, you've been in this house, you've been in, of course, this one here you said was very nice at 150. Where do you feel like we should be pricing your home to make sure that we're beating the competition and getting you and your home sold within 4 months, and make sure you're sitting in that lawn chair?
Well, it gives me some hope. I'd like this number.
Okay.
But I also see, both of the ones that are priced up at the 149 range were on the market over 100 days, which doesn't interest us really.
Right.
But I like this house in the 135 range. We've been over there and been through those, and they're probably not the same quality finish inside as ours is. So that doesn't bother me. I'd say somewhere between 135.9 and 149.9.
Okay.
And really, it doesn't hurt anything to price it at, let's say, 149. They'll make an offer, won't they?
They definitely could. Now, one thing I think you just pointed out was the time on market. Are you if we put it at this price, are you comfortable waiting a little bit longer in order to get that offer? Or one thing we've done before, Ed, is we go ahead and put it on the market at this price, because that is a market price, so I'm not really going to fight you there much there. I look at it and I agree with you, it's there. What we can do is the National Association of Realtors tells us that if a home is on the market for 10 days without a showing, or has 10 showings and no offer. And in both cases, it's slightly overpriced according to just according to the public and the buyers looking at the homes.
Okay.
So what we can do is we can, of course, put it at this price, and then we'll put in the contract. We'll just write at the bottom of the contract that if we don't have an offer in 10 days, we'll go ahead and reduce by $5,000 and get it put down maybe in a little bit better price point that'll still be above your 135.9, and yet it'll still make sure we're reacting to the market and making sure you get sold, and of course are relaxing when you get moved in. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. 5,000 in 10 days sounds like a lot, but.
And at the same time, if we don't, Ed, we're going to be playing with this number here, and then all of a sudden you're moving yourself in.
Can't we push these two numbers closer together?
I'd love to.
And can't it sell for the most money and not sit on the market for 125 days or whatever?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, what we find is that we get you the most money possible in the fastest time possible when we react to the market. So what I mean by that is when I'm watching the market and I'm seeing these buyers go through the house or not go through the house, if they're not coming, then that means we need to react fast. That way they don't kind of look at the house and be like, oh, that's been on the market a long time, and this number starts to tick a lot longer because they don't even want to come look at the house.
Right.
So what we want to make sure is if we haven't had an offer really in about 2 weeks, that's about that 10-day point, we need to make sure that we make an adjustment and get the buyers in the door, because you do want it to sell quickly, right?
Yes.
And for the most amount of money possible, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that just means we need to listen to the market and adjust as quickly as the market says.
So why don't we do it at say 149.9, and like you said, we can just put it in the contract that we'll reduce it 5,000
if it doesn't sell,
days.
right? And if we get that offer in the first 10 days, fantastic. You're pocketing extra. We're all happy. Everybody wins. But if it doesn't,
so if we have tons of traffic in the first 10 days. Then we won't do that price reduction, right?
If we have enough traffic, now by enough traffic, I mean we have 10 showings, then we might have a conversation. Now at the same time, Ed, if we have 10 buyers walk through the house and nobody brings an offer, isn't that telling us that the buyers are not willing to pay?
It probably is.
So I think that if we have a lot of showings and we still have no offers, we probably still need to make a little bit of an adjustment, which in this case would be that 5,000, in order to make sure that the next buyer that comes in the door, number 11, that they walk in the door and bring us an offer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so it sounds like we're both in agreement that 149.9 is the price. Is that right?
Yes.
Perfect.
So if it sells really quickly, then, you're not going to have nearly as much time in advertising and all that in the house, so will you do it for less commission?
No, and can I explain why real quick?
Sure.
Fantastic. See, I am about to show you my marketing plan. The cool thing is that marketing is very important, and yet marketing is about 20% of my job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the marketing in order
I thought it was 100% of your job.
I wish, because then I'd make a ton of money and I would never have to worry about anything else.
Oh.
But unfortunately, that's not true, because if marketing were 100% of my job, I think we could both agree that in the back of your mind, you're thinking, are you really paying that much for marketing? Because I'm pretty sure you can stick a sign in your yard for a little bit less than 7% or 6%. Is that right?
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because I think I saw them last. It's like $40 to get a really nice one, like I have, and probably like $5 to get the Walmart version. So what we do, Ed, is we're going to go over the marketing here in just a second. What that is about 20%. The rest of my job is after we get the offer, of course, negotiating you the most money possible with my negotiation skills and sales skills to make sure that you don't take a price that's not going to work. Because you do want to make as much possible, right?
Yes.
Which is why that most of my clients, the clients that choose me, is why they are actually getting 98% of their asking price on average, which is actually 2% better than the entire MLS. Most houses get about 96%, okay? So that's why my clients choose me, is because they do want to make that extra money. And it allows me to step in, and 2%, that's a good number in this case, right?
That's moving money.
That's moving money. That's a little bit more in your pocket. So that's one place where I, of course, earn you more money. And then honestly, as we negotiate through the contract, make sure everything's done right. See, most lawsuits that happen in real estate happen after the fact when the contract wasn't done properly. A lot of people who don't use an agent actually end up getting sued because they didn't do their contract right. So that's why I'm here, is to make sure that you never have somebody come back on you, the transaction happens smoothly, and of course you make more money. Does that sound all right?
Sure.
Perfect. So let's get into the marketing. Now, Ed, I do have a very simple graphic just to show our marketing, and then we talk about it real quick, kind of let you know what's going on. So what we found is the National Association of Realtors goes out every year. They do a study and say, hey, how did buyers find their home? So I take that study, and that's how I market, because if buyers aren't looking in a spot, then I shouldn't be marketing over there. I need to market where they're looking, right? Perfect. So what we found is that 43% of all buyers that bought a home found that home first online. So of course at Keller Williams Realty, we have a platform where we put your home on over 300 websites. It's actually between 300 and 400. It's always moving back and forth. Of course, it's going to include the big three, right? Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. And I could get you a completed list, but we put it online everywhere. Of course, we do Craigslist.
And of course, we do Craigslist. My card's full.
And of course we do Craigslist and Facebook. They keep it up on both of those websites and updated weekly in order to make sure we're hitting buyers every week, okay? Hitting the new buyers that get into the market looking. Now what we found also is that other agents talking about your house actually brought 33% of buyers last year. What this means is maybe the buyer is looking on the other side of town. They've looked at 10 homes, right? The agent's tired of showing them houses. They're tired of looking at houses. And the agent says, hey, the home you want is actually over here on Par Lane because I've spent enough time with you. I know what you're looking for, and we got to go look at this one on Par, okay? So what we do is we market directly to the other agents where we're doing emails to them. We're actually hitting those agents on Facebook and Craigslist also, just doing ads that are targeted to them to make sure we're getting in those agents' mind, okay? Also, as we're walking around the office, as I'm talking to other agents, I'm always mentioning my listings because I want to make sure that they bring offers on ours. Does that make sense? Perfect. One other thing, just real quick, this is actually my claim to fame, if you will. The Lundy Homes claim to fame. One of the things we do to make sure that you have the best chance of selling is we spend 3 hours a day on the phone making phone calls to find buyers for our sellers and sellers for our buyers, just making sure the business happens. Now, only 3% of agents in the entire really world of agents. Studies have shown only 3% will actually go proactively and go find a buyer for you. So that's exactly what we're doing to make sure that this 33% for you gets way larger. That makes sense? Perfect. Signs and flyers, that actually brings about 17% of our business. Absolutely have to have a sign. We're going to have flyers on that sign. We're going to be doing some passing out of flyers also actually around your area, just to see if your neighbors know, of course, if anybody looking to buy or sell or buy a home.
Yeah,
in the area,
there are a lot of people looking to move in our neighborhood. So
exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly. Open houses, we do, of course, do open houses. We do
What?
This. I know, right? Only if you want. See, what happens here is actually this number, national number, shows about 7%. I'll be honest, Ed, I feel like in our area it's about 3% probably.
We sold our last 2 houses at open house.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, that's cool. That's cool. And it sounds like you'd be a candidate for our open house program then, right?
Maybe.
Absolutely. So what we do is some of our clients actually don't want open houses. So that's why I say it's kind of according to the client, because some clients for security reasons or maybe based on people they know, they don't want an open house. However, what we found is open house is a great way for us to get buyers. So quite honestly, even if I'm not doing an open house at your house that week, maybe you can't do one, or maybe you've got family in town, we're going to be making sure we have an open house somewhere else, meeting buyers, and quite potentially bringing those buyers to your house.
Oh,
that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, Ed, the only reason I even have this paper advertising down here is just to show you it brings a very low rate of return, and probably less than 1% is what we're showing nationally. So I actually don't do any paper advertising. Now, I do stick your open house in the newspaper. We actually still do that right now, just because it seems like it's brought a little bit of traffic. And at the same time, other than that, we don't do any other kind of paper advertising. Just nobody's there looking at it.
Huh.
I think the last time
My mother.
Is she looking? Does she want to buy your house? Because we'll call her.
No.
Okay, fantastic.
She reads the paper all the time.
Perfect. Well, so that kind of wraps up some of what we're doing on our marketing. So any questions about our marketing plan, what we're doing for you?
Nope, not really.
Fantastic. All right, and you already told me that we wanted to sell the house at $149,900 for right now. So all we really do need to do now, Ed, is of course sign the contract. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, just go ahead and let's see here, guys. Get back over here and sign right there. Perfect. All right, Ed, we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.